the people that follow my career and know me for a long time and haven't been seeing me with people and dating, I never felt like I could be with someone for the rest of my life, but with you, it felt different.
I remember when she showed me your photo, I was like, oh, okay. You can like that. And it said, and then your first message to me, I will never forget, hey, with the wave emoji. I'm like, oh, that's some good flirting.
Still struggle with a little bit. My mom is very traditional. She believes that I should go marry a guy. And I was like, Mom, this is not what I want. I love you.
Of course, I love you too.
Okay, this episode is a little different. We'll talk about love, discipline, and emotional maturity. Join me, Claudia Gadelha, as I dive deep into the mindset, strategies, and tools that transform athletes and entrepreneurs into life champions in and out of the arena. Today I'm joined by Orie Randall, my fiancée. We just got engaged in Paris and we have been dating for a while now. We don't want to talk about how long. But I think, the people that follow my career and know me for a long time and haven't been seeing me with people and dating are very curious about you. So I wanted to bring you here. I know I forced you here today. But I think this is going to help a lot of people with their relationships, because relationships is one of the most important topics of high performance. I truly believe that your relationships are what build you, and you are one of the most emotional, intelligent people I know, which is very surprising to me. You got me to see life in a different way. And just would like you to share a little bit of how we met and how we fell in love.
So, I would say that we met online. We don't have to go too far. But we first started talking, and I think one of the most important things for you was you wanted to call me. And never has this happened to me before, and I don't think for you either. But our first conversation was like 3 hours and 20 minutes on the phone. And from there, we just wouldn't stop talking every day. And I've always been pretty spontaneous. So when you had asked me, you said, well, when are we going to meet? Are we going to meet? Because I was living in New York City at the time. And you live here in Vegas. You were like, have you ever been to Vegas? And I said, no. And I came to visit. I came for a weekend, I think. It's supposed to be like 3 days, maybe 4. And we decided to extend my stay. So it could have gone bad the first day, but it went so well that we stayed almost a week together and both went to the airport together. You were flying somewhere for work or something, and from there we made it a point to see each other as often as we could. And I'll never forget, in the very beginning when we met, you had asked me what my dream place to visit would be in the world. And I said Italy, and a month later, we went to Italy together and started dating. And I worked in New York for a while, so I couldn't exactly move here on, a decent time frame for us. But we made it work, long distance. And it was hard, but I think when you have good understanding in a relationship, it works out. And then eventually I moved here.
Yeah.
And we lived together, got engaged.
Wow, yeah. Like you're playing a movie in my head.
I know, I'm seeing it all come back to me.
And it's nice. I think, a lot of people are looking for a love, and love is so hard to find. I'm 36 years old. I just found real love now. And I think when you find love, you feel it. You really feel that you have your person. But I think we should share where we met first so people can go find their loves in there. We actually met at Raya. I liked you first.
You liked my photo first. I had
Okay.
a friend of mine that was holding my phone because it was just giving me anxiety, like trying to find someone new. I was in a very traumatic relationship before. So I guess I was looking to just free myself from that. But I remember when she showed me your photo, I was like, oh, okay. You can like that. And it said match right away, as in you had liked mine first, and I responded basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your first message to me, I will never forget. Hey, with the wave emoji. I'm like, oh, that's some good flirting.
It worked.
Yeah, it did work. Yeah. So.
That's good. Like I said, you were playing a movie in my mind as you were walking us through how we met and everything. But I think everything was so magic, new, and I was so surprised with how emotionally intelligent you were. And my whole life I played sports my whole life, and I've spent a lot of time understanding every other area of my life, and I forgot about my relationships. It wasn't until I had a really bad concussion and I found myself in the hospital, and the doctor told me, hey, you will have to sleep here tonight. Can you call someone to come here and stay with you? And I looked at my phone, and that was one of the most depressing times of my life. During COVID, my family was in Brazil. They couldn't get into America because the borders were closed. I couldn't fly there, and I was sick, so I could not fly there. And I looked at my phone, and I was like, I literally have nobody I can call right now that I trust that would make the effort to come here and stay with me. And that was a big wake-up call for me, because I feel like I built every other area of my life. I built my career, my purpose. I built my physical activities, like my body, my mind. I built my finances in a beautiful way. My whole life I was so disciplined and consistent with all these things, my spirituality. But my relationships was something that I never had the time. It was not my priority to build. And when I had that concussion, I was like, oh, wow. All this I'm doing is for what truly matters in life, which is people and love and connection. And that's when I started paying attention to that area of my life. And I had a couple toxic relationships as well. And then I met you, and when I met you, I was like, wait a minute, this girl is so understanding. I feel like she hears me, she listens to me, she wants to understand who I am, she wants to talk things through. And one of the theories I had in my mind always was that, like, if you want to build a really good relationship, you have to have the same values. Like, you have to believe in the same things, and then you need to have the same vision, because like if we have the same values and we want to go, make a bunch of money and conquer a bunch of things, I believe that there's three things that makes up a relationship, which is the same values, the same vision, and I structured the way of dealing with conflict. And we had the same vision, we wanted the same things. We had the same values, which is important, because if we have the same vision, let's say we want to go make millions of dollars together, but I want to go rob a bank and you want to go work, right? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. So you need to have the same values, the same vision. And then every time a conflict comes up, you have to know how to deal with it. And I was never good with dealing with conflicts, and I actually learned that from you, because when, you know, I avoid conversations, and every time I pulled back and didn't want to have conversations, I'm still learning. You would come to me and with love and care, just talk to me and explain how you were feeling, and I started really understanding you and I started trying to take care of your feelings, and I think that's when everything changed for me, and I felt like love clicked, and I could be with you for the rest of my life, you know, because before, I never felt like I could be with someone for the rest of my life, you know, but with you, it felt different. I already said that I think you're very emotionally intelligent. Where do you think that comes from?
I think there are many layers to it. I am very lucky to have had my parents' relationship as the model in my life of what a healthy relationship should look like. They don't fight or argue, at least in front of me. And they are still so in love. And we actually got to hear their story over Christmas this last year when we were there together, and it's just beautiful. And you don't hear that very often, those kinds of stories. And you don't see that all the time. Unfortunately, it's uncommon to have parents that get along in such a beautiful and healthy way like my parents do. So I felt like I know what a good relationship should look like in that way. And I think that plays a part of it, as well as my mom had me at 44, and both of my parents are the youngest out of their siblings. So my cousins were in college when I was born, basically. Every family gathering, we're pretty close as a family. They're all married with kids. So I'm like always around adults, and I fit in better. Some of our best friends that we share here in Vegas, I get along beautifully with them. And even my friends that I met in college, one of my closest friends, she is a stylist, does her own thing, very mature, you know, has her own career figured out and everything. So I think it's the people that I surround myself with as well that influence that. And I also went through many experiences in my life to which shaped me to be who I am. And like I said, with a previous bad experience that I had, I really had to mature. I had to look at the things that I was doing in my life that were unhealthy. And I was just trying to escape all of the pain that I was feeling from how I was being treated. And I completely changed my life and turned my life around. And at heart, I'm a nurturer. So I understand how you're feeling when you're upset. And my instinct is to just care for you and like try and resolve it in a healthy way, because I do not like conflict, but I also am not someone that would fight or argue. So I would rather resolve it.
Yeah, that level of understanding your partner and yourself, yeah, it takes a lot of work to get there. I know that for a fact, because for me, I'm still learning everything about relationships. Like I said, I spent so much time focused on performance and doing. My drive is just so big that, you know, I was never spending time doing the things that really matter in life, you know, because when I look back at my life now that I'm retired from sports and I look at my victories, I don't think about myself with my arm raised inside the octagon, you know. I look at my relationship with my mother that was restored through me working on myself. I look at, you know, being able to give my parents a good life. I look at the emotional maturity I have in terms of relationships today, and all the skills I built in my life. I don't think about, what I got from fighting. I think about the person I became from fighting, but it's so hard to see when you're in it, and some people never see that after they retired. But you touched on a point where you said you were being treated in a way that wasn't fun, that had to deal with a lot of pain. It was kind of toxic, and I think everybody goes through that at one point. But you said something that's very powerful, especially at your age. You said that you were able to turn your life around. And I've seen this over and over. Some people keep going for the wrong relationship. They keep going for the toxic relationship. And I know it's what feels home. It was what feels love when you're in it, and it's hard to get out of it. But you were able to just shift everything around, started working out, started taking care of yourself, found love again, and you have a complete different mindset now. So for people that are watching and are in toxic relationships or have been in toxic relationships and would like to learn how to shift their lives around, what would you tell them?
Well, I have to be honest. It's not easy. And it's not like I just went like that. It was 2 years of narcissistic emotional abuse, which is so incredibly difficult for people to leave. And in any situation like that, I feel like it's so eye-opening once you're out of it, but so difficult when you're just deep in that. It really broke me in so many different ways, and I was not okay. And I was trying to cope with not being okay by drinking. And then, because it was like constant manipulation and just so incredibly breaking just to me as a person, that I would try and escape, and my life just turned upside down. I was not who I am. I wasn't good to my friends, to my family, to me. And it took so much for me to finally realize that. But once I did, and I got out of it, I decided I will never let that happen to me again. And I will do everything in my power to become a better person and actually be me, be happy for myself. And once I started working out and going on little dates with myself, rebuilding my relationship with my friends and family, I felt way better mentally. Like all of this anxiety and depression I had once I was done drinking and done with that horrible relationship or person, felt so much happier, so much less anxiety, like no depression. It's crazy how your life can completely change when you let go of those toxic things. And I think that set me up in a good place to heal as a person before I met you. And it took a while in the beginning for me to fully trust that you would be there because of what I had been through. But I just want to commend you because you are so loving to me. And it's really beautiful to see how you are such a great person to me. And my family and friends can all see it too. You're just so incredible in every way.
Okay, don't make me cry. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think a lot of people are going through, I think a lot of people are going through bad experiences with relationships. It's so hard to build a really good relationship these days, especially because everybody is online and people don't want to connect in a deeper level anymore. And so much, I have so much more to conquer in my life. And, you know, I know you want me around. And I always tell guys, when I talk to guys, when I coach guys, I'm like, man, if your girlfriend is telling you that you need more time with her, if your girlfriend is telling you that you need to be home more and taking you away from the things you want to build, she might not understand what building a great life looks like, because it's gonna be busy, it's gonna be hard when you're trying to build something big, when you're trying to achieve your freedom and get to the point where you can just go live your life. It takes time, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of patience. But I'm curious for you and also for the people that are watching and are fighters, athletes, wives, and or husbands, or you know, entrepreneurs that are very driven, that have a partner at home. How is it for you to deal with that?
Well, I get asked this actually quite a bit, especially recently with everything that was going on. I had a friend ask how I'm doing. Oh my gosh, your schedules are so crazy. And we talked about our month this month, and it's like every single day of the weekend we're busy, and some people just don't understand. But for me, I have a little bit of experience growing up. My dad is like Superman.
He really is.
He also has like 5 jobs. And very similarly to you with, oh, this could be done by, you know, anybody else, but no, you want to handle it. You know, my dad's the same way. He just retired 2 months ago. He's 63, and he's climbing 40-foot tall trees and cutting them down for a new project in the backyard. So he never stops. When I was a kid, he worked during the week, and on the weekends he would go and refurbish apartments after a tenant would move out or something, and bring me along. And my dad walks very fast, and I'd be sprinting after him in like a Home Depot trying to keep up, and then I'd lay on the floor of one of the bedrooms of the apartment while he's painting the walls, and I'd just go everywhere with him and do that. So I think now I understand you in the way you work, because I was around that for 18 years of my life before I moved out. But with you, I want to say I can also see, because I worked in the fashion industry, and that is something where you have to go all the time if you want to make it. You are basically on call 24/7, depending on what you do, especially during New York Fashion Week. Always a yes man to everything. So I know how that industry works as well. And I just understand you. I think we are two people that it just matches so perfectly. Like, I just understand you, and I want to be here with you, doing everything with you and supporting you. So on all your projects, I'm like, yeah, let's go. We can do this. On all of your trips and business ventures you have where I have to come with, I'm happy to go. I understand your schedule, and I too am spontaneous, so I'm a very type B person. So when your schedule's constantly changing, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll work around it, no problem. It's really not that hard to juggle when you respect and love someone.
Yeah, that's good. I want to touch on your dad, because he's a superhuman, and I admire a lot athletes that can transition out of sports and become amazing in something else. You know, I can literally see your dad being amazing in anything he decides to do. And you can see that in him. He was in the Olympics in what year?
1984.
1984. He was an athlete and then became an entrepreneur. And this guy is just a machine. Like, I want to bring him here and talk to him in this setting. But tell us a little bit more about your dad.
So, both me and my dad are from about the same hometown. Very small. Like, I grew up around like 2,000 people is my town. My dad, a little bit bigger, but pretty much the same thing. And, you know, my dad was born in 1962. The sports are limited, but we lived in northern Minnesota. So there's always snow. You can count on that. And as a kid, he started training cross-country skiing, and there's actually a ski jump in the little town where he grew up. And so he started training with a coach that was his coach for about, I want to say like 15 years. And I remember seeing him my whole life. My dad knew this coach until the day he died. And he was in my life too, Joe Nowak. He was an icon. So I saw all these people around my dad building him up, and he was just a little killer at a young age. He won all these trophies. Nordic Combined is actually one of the most difficult sports, however they rank it. A lot of cardiovascular, and then you also have to be able to fly through the air, you know, hundreds of feet up. He moved out when he was like 13 in the summers to go and train in Colorado, and was the youngest person actually to compete at the time in the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. And my dad was winning, you know, gold in the ski jumping part, because it's a combined sport. He'd win gold in the ski jumping or be first place, and it's hard to keep up in cross country because it's so much cardiovascular, and you're against people from like Norway and stuff that grew up doing that in the best elevations. So he did his best, but he never wanted to be known. So he didn't do it to get recognition. No one made money from sports back then, so he made no money from it. But he just did it because he was good at it, and he had loved the sport for a while. And he went to the Olympics, and right about the year after the Olympics, my dad was just like, okay, I'm good. That's all I need. He didn't want to keep going and trying to get, okay, now I want the gold medal. Now I want to be best in the world. He didn't do it for any of that. So he was done with it, didn't want to kill his body anymore. And he went on his first vacation of his life right after he quit, and came back. I think he said he came back and had $20 to his name, and lived with his dad and worked for his dad's business. And him and his brother, my dad and his brother, built this business up and did that for most of their lives. And then my dad too, very similar way to you, found some good mentors that were entrepreneurs, and they pushed him like, you should save money, you should invest in something like some kind of property and rent it out. Like, do what you can, refurbish it, and rent it out, and someday when you gain that back, you can buy something bigger. You can build your wealth with that. And so my dad started doing that. He started being an entrepreneur. He had people that believed in him and kind of supported him in the beginning, but he did it all himself. My dad built my house that I grew up in. So
he's a superhuman.
He knows how to do practically everything. So he's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he really is. Rare to find. I think your parents' love, it's so beautiful. very rare to see. I grew up in, I think we are the most discriminative, how to say discriminative?
Discriminative?
Discriminative. Editor. My state is the most discriminative state in the whole country of Brazil, and also one of the most dangerous places to be in Brazil. Very hard to make it in there if you're different. The die early, which is crazy. People get killed. So many people get killed every day. There's so much. There's not a lot of information there, not a lot of opportunities, so people go and commit crimes to survive, and there's not real opportunities, you know, and growing up, I didn't see a lot of love. My parents were always fighting for money. My parents were always fighting because my dad drank alcohol his whole life. And you know, when I moved out of my house, I went to Natal, and I also didn't have good experiences, didn't get to watch a lot of people really loving and caring for each other, you know. And recently I started spending time with your parents, and I have never seen that type of love before. And that, to me, because like when we met and when I saw that you were so loving and caring, I was like, this is impossible. It doesn't, like, this type of love just, it doesn't exist, you know. But when I got to hang out with your parents, I really understood you way more. And you know, it's beautiful the way they built their relationship. They were so structured with everything they did, and then they had you, and they were able to give you so much love and to raise you in a beautiful way. And that's part of who you are. Like, you are what they taught you, and I think they raised you in a very beautiful way. I'm very happy to be in the middle of the family now and being super accepted by them, which is, you know, something that I still struggle with a little bit. You know, my mom is very traditional. She believes that I should go marry a guy and have kids, and I was like, Mom, this is not what I want, you know. And she doesn't really understand me. She loves me, and you know, same thing with my sisters and people that grew up where I grew up. Like I said, it's a very discriminative place, but your parents love you and accept you, and your whole family is so beautiful to see how they love you unconditionally. And God is so good that He put somebody in my life to teach me that type of love, which is Roxanne D'Ambrosa, my American mom. She really showed me what unconditional love is. And then, you know, when I met you and your family, I was like, damn, there's more people like that in the world. And I want to meet more people like you guys. But it's incredible to see, you know, your relationship with your parents and how much they accept and care for you. How was it for you just coming out for them as, you know, the only daughter, beautiful, feminine girl that they love so much?
Well, my mom is a killer. She was an ER doctor for years, but she's amazing. She will tell someone to their face, blank expression. Like, I absolutely disagree with what you're saying. She is a diehard supporter for me, for anyone in the community, and she definitely stands up for what she believes in. So I told her, and she just sat there, straight face, and I'm like freaking out because I was so nervous, and she looked like I told her, you know, good morning. She just like stood there like anything was normal, and I'm like, are you surprised? You know, I look like me, so I guess it's not traditional, and or what you think of as someone who would be gay. And she was just like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm surprised, but no big deal. And I was freaking out at the time. So she's amazing. And my dad, he loves you so much. He's supportive too. My mom is just a firecracker. She's more, outspoken about her support, and my dad is very supportive as well. So
Yeah, it feels
it's
good.
very loving. And I know the ins and outs of my family. I know who's supportive. And I have a pretty good family for the most part. People are very supportive. I think where I come from, I grew up in a blue state, and with my family's structure, they're more accepting, especially my mom's side, very accepting.
Yeah.
So I, again, am very lucky to have had that, because I know that's not most people's experience. I'm not saying I didn't face any discrimination from other people, because I grew up in a very small town. And again, I look like this, so people don't assume that I'm and I think people have their things to say, the ones that do.
Yeah.
I do not care. With the way that I've grown in my life, I could not care less what people think, especially those that do not know me at all. Like, you knew me at one point in my life, but I'm such a different person than I was.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah,
when
that's
people
good.
aren't supportive, but people that I care about are unconditional.
Yeah, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, not everybody have it. So, I'm glad you have it, and I'm glad I can steal a little bit of that acceptance and love from you and your family. It's not the case with my family, but they're good. I believe that people, like, they act now based on the information they have now. And my parents are older. I'm from a small town in Brazil that don't get a lot of information. Hey, could you go out of your way and try? Yes, you could, because I did. And I completely changed my life getting out of there, but I had to get out of there and grow so much. And growth is painful. A lot of people don't want to go through growing or growth process because it's painful. But I'm okay with dealing with pain, and I just can't parent my parents. I can't parent my sisters, but I learned to live my life in a way where I love the people I have around me, and like you said, what really matters. I know what really matters to me. And I know the people I have in my life that I can count on. Yeah. I know the people I can call now when I need, and that's what truly matters. But I wanted to share a little more about you too.
The biggest lesson that you've learned, because previously you had said before to me that you were not the healthiest of a partner yourself in relationships before. What is it that you think that is the difference now? What have you learned?
Yeah, I think I was exposed to the way I grew up. I was exposed to very bad relationships my whole life. Like, I watched partners screaming at each other and not treating each other very well, to the point where I know I always had a good heart and good intentions, but I didn't think that my partner was gonna be the person that I was gonna fight life with. Like, it's me and my partner against the world. It's not me against my partner. And the idea I had in my mind of being in a relationship, especially being from Brazil, where people are very affectionate. Brazilians are very touchy and very, like, we feel deep to the soul. We're so connected. And when you love in Brazil, you love, but when you hate, you hate. So I think when I didn't have good experiences growing up, watching my parents not having a good relationship. They still together, but they fight every day. I don't know how they're still together. Second, I thought I didn't see my partner as somebody from my team. Like, we are a team, It was always like, I don't really trust you. I don't really see myself with you long term. Therefore, I don't have the energy to put effort into this. So a lot of immaturity when it comes to my emotional. I don't think it was a problem with emotional intelligence, but it was mostly like I didn't want to put the time into learning about somebody and fully understanding what a real, true love relationship looks like.
I think you weren't ready for the vulnerability.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard, and I believe I'm vulnerable with you now. I don't know if I still have to get better with
Oh,
it.
you're good. That's why I say I'm so surprised when I hear some of the previous stories, because the way you are with me, I can't imagine you being any different.
Yeah, but that's why I'm gonna marry
So
you.
I'm never going to let you go. You're perfect.
You were perfect. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. I wanted to share more about us to everybody, and I love you.
Of course, I love you too.